Hey guys, what's up? This is Evrock. Welcome to episode 4 of the Mighty Mighty Bosstones Road to the Throwdown, ska, core, Jimmy Kimmel, and more. Now in this episode, we see some of the greats that the Bosstones have influenced over the years. And Adam Carolla also talks about how good of a bartender Dickie is. You'll see what I'm talking about. Enjoy.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Kimmel. I'm the host of the show that Dickie now works on, and we're out front of Dickie's dressing room. This is it. This is the glamorous room where Dickie puts on his snazzy suits and his snazzy ties every night. Come on, let's take a look. This is it. You can see there's a lot to see in here. It smells like my grandpa's basement. Oh, I want to show you something. These are some of the shoes that he'll be wearing on the road to the Throwdown. I don't know if Dickie mentioned this, but he was born to be a Bosstone. When he came out of the womb, he burst out of his mother's vagina and he started screaming the knock on wood. Never had to knock on wood! And he was smoking too, which I thought was a weird thing. Let's see what else is here. And the ties all over the floor. He's really a slob. When he says throw down, he means throw his clothes down on the floor for someone else to pick up.
I was gonna say, Dickie, I was telling you before the camera heat up, we're gonna throw in a party, and I mean, you're invited, you know, to work. You know, he's a great bartender. He does that thing where he sticks the napkin to it. You know, he told me that's his move. And then he tried to lay claim to the guy. Also said he was the guy who invented putting the foil around baked potatoes, and I said, no.
You know, a lot of times, like, British singers will sing and it just sounds like you don't hear their accent. Or like American singers will sing and it sounds a little Britishy. With him, it's not a Boston accent as much as more like a monster act, if there's a monster accent.
I first met them, we used to do a show, after we did a show called The State, we did a show called Viva Variety, and we had them on, and they did the impression that I get. And it must have gone pretty well because we've been friends ever since, and for a while the saxophone player, Tim Johnny Burton, dated my sister. So it was a fortuitous meeting, I guess, for all of us. And then I've become, you know, one of those people who, I actually am such a big fan. I know, obviously I know all the songs. I can play a couple of the songs, but I also know, if you have the Live from the Middle East record, I also have all the banter memorized. I actually have all of Dickie's stage banter from that album memorized, like, dude, get your feet on the floor. You almost took Dennis out, and if that happens, there's trouble. And the part where he talks to the kid in the tweed jacket. See, this is where you start to sound, when you start talking like this, now I'm gonna start to sound fucking crazy.
The first time I saw him was at the first Throwdown that they did at the Middle East, and I was like 15. Walking down the stairs, I just remember just like freaking out, just like not knowing what to expect, goosebumps, and just like, oh my God, this is actually happening. And my friend's like, oh, we're going, we're doing it. And then, and they were so cool, like they were always hanging around, like we got there right, you know, when they opened the doors, and they were always hanging around. You could kind of go up and be like, oh, hey, and run away. Yeah. Stuff like that. And then when they played, the crowd, the whole atmosphere, I just couldn't believe that stuff like this happened. And it was just like, everybody just went nuts. Kids were just like pouring on stage, jumping off. I was holding all my older friends' stuff, their wallets and their hats and their glasses, while they were in the crowd and stuff, because I was too scared. They're like, you gonna go? I'm like, no, I don't think so. They're like, all right, hold everything. And then I didn't see them for the whole show.
For me, having grown up, you know, going to shows in the Boston scene, they were the first band to take, in my eyes, from my personal experience, to take ska music, punk rock, and hardcore, and mold it all together. And the shows were frenetic and sweaty and communal. Everybody was united, and there was stage diving and massive circle pits, walls of death, just like gang sing-alongs. I mean, easily some of the best shows I've ever seen. I mean, just frenetic, crazy, crazy energy.
All right. Hey, I want you guys to know, after all the years of watching the Bosstones in my life, I always thought that it wasn't a problem to play in a suit. I want to tell you right now, that ain't right. It's about as hot as you can get up here, and I think right now we're about to heat it up. You guys think you can handle it? Here we go.
The first show I've ever seen him just made me instantly say, I want to do that, and I want to be on that stage commanding a crowd like they do.
This won't be so hard to follow. You must
They just, you could see that it was legitimate and tangible, their love for what they were doing, and they were just all in. You know, like they gave everything to the music, and they were always all in about giving back to other Boston bands or giving to charities or speaking out against racism.
You know, they also taught us to, you know, to help out the band behind you, you know what I mean, and put your money where your mouth is. You know, a lot of bands want to say that stuff, but they actually did it, you know what I mean? They took, you know, I mean, just to take bands like us and the Royal Crowns out, it was, you know, they could have got far more popular bands at the time to put more heads in those rooms and get more money on the back end, but they did the right thing, and I think we've tried to do that in retrospect as we came along, you know. So I think they set a good tone on both the underground level and when they became, you know, nationally prominent, you know.
What? Now please a word here to the wild.
You know, there's no street dogs if there isn't a Mighty Mighty Bosstones.
Mike and I, like being from the Boston area, know what the Bosstones getting back together means, especially in that area, if not the world over. We knew the shows would sell out at Middle East. You know, we knew if they announced shows, they were going to sell out quickly. But when they announced the Providence show, we had this. Me and Mike bet our, you know, because it's a big room that they're playing in Providence, and me and Mike had a bet with our guitar player. He said, oh, it'll sell out, but me and Mike were like, it's gonna sell out like in an hour or less.
Easily.
And Toby, our guitar player, was like, no, I won't sell out in the first day. So that turned into Joe the Kid telling Gittleman and Dickie. Toby says that you know, the shows weren't going to sell out. So Toby's been getting phone calls from Gittleman saying like,
that's a fucking bunch of bullshit.
Toby's been getting phone calls.
That's
Toby right there. He doesn't believe in the Bosstones.
That's bullshit. I say it may take more than a day for the New Year's Eve show to sell because those, fuck you guys.
There's definitely a buzz around Boston, and the only way I can compare it is if there's a really, really bad blizzard and you get on the subway or the bus, you know, you can talk to a complete stranger and be like, man, it's cold outside. And the person will just start a conversation with you, and it's totally natural. It's almost like that with the Bosstones getting back together. People can just go up to each other and go, did you hear, yada yada? They're also doing a show at Lupo's, yeah. So it's just a natural buzz conversation that's going around the city.
I think the best part for like a thing like the Throwdown is how the fans can kind of make it more time to spend together, you know what I mean, and be hanging out for a whole weekend, and you know, and just especially like to do it around Christmas, you know, it's like, unless you're an asshole, you're probably in a good mood around Christmas, you know, and it just makes it that much more special, and I think there's always a good, you know, good anticipation, everyone's in a good mood, and you get to, you know, make a week of it or whatever. And I think, you know, I mean, you know, a lot of those Bosstones fans are so die-hard. I'm sure they're going to be at multiple shows, you know. So I'm sure it's sold out, but I'm hoping maybe doing this interview will get me in the side door with a ticket.
Oh, look at your MySpace page. What? I thought you had to fight the pussy off.
No, look at that.
With a stick.
That would be attractive to girls. Plaid and dogs and shit.
Tartan patterns are always huge pussy lures. Do you want to lick this?
Favorite Bosstones song has to be either
Rascal King or Let It Be?
I've never understood why the Bosstones haven't played in the past 5 years. It makes me angry. It makes me confused. I honestly wish I knew why. I would understand if Dickie had like a weird, like Bobby Brown, like crack problem, and or like Ben or Joe Gittleman, or was like getting a sex change, or like some crazy shit was happening. But as far as I know, they've just been lazy about it.
I'm against this reunion. I don't understand it. I think Dickie has plenty to work on here at the show. I mean, as you can see, he's got some cleaning to do in his office, and yet he's all for running around with these guys.
I always said to Joe, I said, it's only a matter of time. Joe Gittleman, the bass player. So it's a matter of time. I said, you guys are a great live band, and that's something, and unique in that world and your music, and that's something that'll carry you. Do you know what I mean? I think it's great. You know what I mean? I think the music world needs bands like that. You know what I mean? There's a lot of new bands and a lot of songs, but not a lot of great live bands. And they're a great live band, you know. And I think that's important.